So I don't know about you, but I'm getting pretty sick and tired of listening to conservatives talk about law and order, because when it comes to Donald Trump, they ignore the rule of law altogether. And that's pretty much what we saw outside of the courthouse during Donald Trump's trial. He recruited a who's who of the Republican Party to come spew all of the talking points he wished he could stay after he violated his gag order more than 10 times. So today I want to take a look at what some of these MAGA lunatics are saying and kind of go over some of the disinformation tactics they are using. We'll start off looking at Matt Gaetz.
Well, I'm honored to be here with my colleagues from the House Freedom Caucus, where we watched Michael Cohen get dog-walked through the series of lies he has told. There is literally no branch of government that Michael Cohen has not lied to. He lied to investigators. He lied to the judge who sentenced him. He lied to the United States Congress, and he committed these lies for his own benefit. And while we're talking about what we saw in that courtroom going on for people's own benefit, we would be remiss if we did not mention this corrupt judge, this judge whose own family is making 6 figures off of Democrat politics that continues to gaslight the country that there's some sort of crime committed by President Trump. This is a made-up crime. No other American in the country would be charged with this type of crime. It's like the Mr. Potato Head doll of crimes, where they had to stick together a bunch of things that did not belong together.
So as you can see, we have Matt Gaetz pretty much using the exact same talking points that we heard Donald Trump using before he was reprimanded by the judge and charged, I think, $10,000 for violating his gag order 10 separate times. So it seems to me like there's been some sort of collaboration between the Trump team and these Trump sycophants, where they come to New York, they want to spew all of the same talking points that we heard from Donald Trump, because maybe Donald Trump doesn't want to be hit with another gag order violation. I think it's pretty pathetic overall that we have elected officials coming out and trying to undermine the justice system here in New York. I don't think this is appropriate behavior from our elected officials. We should hold these people to a higher standard, and they shouldn't be meddling in the process and trying to undermine the justice system as a whole. But that is exactly what they're doing. We've got Matt Gaetz here spewing a whole bunch of disinformation, and he wants to say that, Michael Cohen isn't a good witness. Well, the prosecutor made that very clear, that when you're prosecuting criminals, you're often talking to other criminals to get testimony to incriminate. This is just how it kind of works sometimes. So I think it's real rich for Matt Gaetz to come out and try to discredit Michael Cohen when the prosecution has already done that themselves. Not to mention, they want to say that Michael Cohen is the star witness, but I would probably disagree with that. I would say that Pecker was probably the lead witness, because he was able to corroborate all of the different catch and kill schemes and payments and everything involving Cohen. Cohen was kind of like the cherry on top, so I wouldn't put too much stock in Michael Cohen's testimony, because we have paper records and testimonies from other more credible witnesses that corroborate what he said. He wants to say that the judge is somehow corrupt because of the work that his daughter does. That is not how this works. Republicans are so afraid to be prosecuted by anybody who is not a MAGA head. But that's exactly what we see. So they're going to try to undermine the judge. They're going to try to make it look like everything is corrupt, because they want you to lose trust in the system. It is a plan. This is how they work. Donald Trump is finally being held accountable for some of the crimes he committed, and they just can't handle it, is what it boils down to. But let's go ahead and move on and see what Ronny Jackson has to say, another person who is also doing Donald Trump's bidding.
I'm Ronny Jackson from Texas, and I just want to say real quick, make no mistake about this, we all know this, These corrupt prosecutors and this corrupt judge are nothing more than puppets of the Biden administration and the Biden DOJ right now. You know what? It's a shame. They will do anything. They will lie. They will cheat. They will steal. They will do anything to keep him from becoming president again. They fear Donald Trump. They fear Donald Trump. And they fear what's going to happen if he becomes president again. And I tell you, they should fear, because he started draining the swamp. He's going to keep draining it again. And all of these people are representative of the swamp.
So again, we have the exact same talking points that we heard from Donald Trump time and time and time again. But Ronny Jackson has brought no evidence to corroborate any of the claims that he wants to be making. He wants to say that the Biden DOJ or the Biden administration is somehow involved here, when that is just simply not the case. This is a state-level case. The DOJ, in fact, passed on bringing charges against Trump for these same crimes, but it was later found out through more information discovery that these crimes were a little bit more serious than what they had initially thought. So that is why the case ended up being brought. Not to mention, this started way back in 2018, is when the investigation first started. So did Joe Biden somehow know that he would win the presidency in 2020 and then would be again running for president in 2024? And this is some huge elaborate interference scheme? It just does not make any sense, because there is no sense to be made here. This is another attempt to undermine the facts of the case, the justice system as a whole. They want you to think that everybody in our system is corrupt and nobody can be a good actor. Everybody's bad actors. These are our elected officials. We should hold them to a higher standard, and these Republicans are simply pathetic and should be held accountable in the coming November elections. But let's go ahead and move on. We even have Mike Johnson, the Speaker of the House, the most powerful Republican in our country. I think that's how that works out. Even he is coming out running defense for Donald Trump in an attempt to win back the White House in November. So let's go ahead and take a look at what he has to say.
President Trump is a friend, and I wanted to be here to support him. I'm here speaking with you outside because the court won't allow us to speak inside the building. That's just one of the many things that are wrong here. This is the fifth week that President Trump has been in court for this sham of a trial. They are doing this intentionally to keep him here and keep him off of the campaign trail. And I think everybody in the country can see that for what it is. I'm an attorney. I'm a former litigator myself. I am disgusted by what is happening here, what is being done here to our entire system of justice overall. The people are losing faith right now in this country, in our institutions. They're losing faith in our system of justice. And the reason for that is because they see it being abused as it is being done here in New York. The facts here are very important. Facts are always important in a trial, or at least they're supposed to be. The president's actions in this matter were previously reviewed and no charges were filed. Why is that? Because there's no crime here. Now, 8 years later, suddenly they've resurrected this thing. They brought it back. And why is that? Well, just apply common sense. Everyone can see. It's painfully obvious that we're now 6 months out from an election day. And that's the reason. That is the reason why they brought these charges here and across the country. What we've got here is a partisan Democrat district attorney. We have a Biden donor judge, and we have an assistant DA who was recently a top official at the Department of Justice, Biden's DOJ, and recently received over $10,000 in payments from the Democratic National Committee.
We can go ahead and stop it there. It's just some of the same crap that we heard from all of the other characters involved here. But one thing I think is pretty funny about Mike Johnson is this is the guy who said, if we want to understand his worldview, then we should turn to the Bible and we should just read the Bible. But now we have that same guy running defense for a man who had an affair with his wife, with an adult film actress, paid hush money to try to keep her quiet, and then falsified his business records while doing so. So that is the crime, Mike Johnson. And you want to say that people are losing faith in our institutions, and you would be right. Because people like you, elected officials who should have no business in a New York state matter, are coming to Donald Trump's defense just to show devotion to your dear leader. This is unacceptable behavior, especially from somebody like the Speaker of the House. This is all part of a concerted effort to undermine our institutions. They want people to either disengage from the system altogether, or they want you to think of Trump as some sort of martyr so you'll vote for him in November. But I don't think that's going to work on the American people. I think the American people are smarter than that. I don't think many people want to vote for a 34 count felony indicted president. But we'll just have to see how this turns out, I suppose. But I think it's absolutely pathetic that we have all of these elected officials coming to undermine our institutions and then trying to place the blame on others for people losing faith in those same institutions. But moving on, let's go ahead and take a look at Tommy Tuberville. And I just want to say, these guys are saying many of the things that Donald Trump was saying before he violated his gag order 10 times. And it would be a violation of that same gag order were Trump directing others to come make these statements for him. Now, obviously, we're going to have Trump who's going to deny any of those types of allegations, but I would argue that there has been some coordination between the Trump team and these Trump sycophants, because we have Tommy Tuberville here pretty much giving the game away, saying, yeah, we came to New York to overcome his gag order. So let's go ahead and take a look at what he had to say.
President Trump's in good spirits. I spent a day with him. Hopefully we have more and more senators and congressmen go up every day to represent him and be able to go out and overcome this gag order. And that's one of the reasons we went, is to be able to speak our piece for President Trump.
So I don't think you could get any more clear than that. We came to New York to overcome the gag order. It would be who of the New York justice system to look in to whether or not Donald Trump was directing these people to come violate his gag order on his behalf. I would be shocked if there was no coordination there. Tommy Tuberville is a pathetic man. I guess I didn't expect anything else from him, but I still think it's pretty pathetic that we have all of these elected leaders who want to claim that they're the party of law and order and then want to come make a mess of the system because their dear leader is suddenly being held accountable. We should hold these people accountable in November. We should vote them out of office. Just imagine all of the money that is being spent to fly all of these politicians up here. Do you think they did that on their own dime? I don't think they would do that. Do you? It seems quite crazy to me. But the Lincoln Project did put out a pretty nice ad, kind of touching on these same talking points and asking, what the hell? What is going on here? Because this is inappropriate behavior from our elected officials. They should not be coming and meddling in the system of justice like they are, and it's quite pathetic. Let's go ahead and see what they had to say.
What are Republicans like Rick Scott, J.D. Vance, and Mike Johnson doing in a New York City courtroom? Wasting time, wasting taxpayer money.
Just the unbelievable, just complete waste.
Are they in Washington, D.C., working to make the economy stronger, or America safer, or your life better?
No.
No. They talk about inflation and gas prices, but they're too busy cheerleading their leader to do anything about it.
Everybody loves me.
They should be in Washington, making the tough votes to strengthen the border.
This makes zero sense.
Instead, they're kissing Trump's ring in Manhattan.
It was not a good look for Congress.
They're not loyal to you. They're loyal to him.
It can only be my personality, that's all.
It's why more Americans are asking than ever before. Is this what we're paying them for?
Not in Washington doing their jobs. They're at the courthouse.
The American people are over it.
So one thing that really stood out to me in that ad was that these people are loyal to Donald Trump. They're not loyal to you. They're not loyal to the country. and they're not loyal to our Constitution. Remember, these are the people who said they were the law and order party, but instead they're lining up in New York to kiss Donald Trump's ring. They are trying to undermine our institutions, they're trying to cast doubt on the justice system, and they're trying to make you believe that everybody is so corrupt and therefore the system is broken and we need to tear it all down. We cannot let these people do that. Our institutions are important, they are flawed, but they have been working for over 200 years, and we need to trust that they are going to deliver justice for us. Trump is being tried in front of a jury of his peers in New York because he broke the law in New York. We need to trust that our system will do its job and that it will render justice, whether that means Donald Trump is acquitted, there's a hung jury, or if he's convicted. I'm prepared for any of those outcomes. But these Republicans just want to undermine the whole process, so don't let them lie you into voting for them. These people need to be replaced in November. These people need to be held accountable for this unacceptable behavior. We should expect more out of our elected officials. So let's replace them in November. So that's going to do it for me on this one, folks. If you got something out of this video, remember to smash that like button and hit subscribe. If you think I got something wrong, or if you disagree with me on something, feel free to drop a comment below. And if you want to learn more about how MAGA uses conspiracy theories to push their political agenda, watch that video on the screen now. I hope everybody has a good day. I will see you on the next one.